We're doing things all kinds different for this episode. We're going to be completely, totally candid this entire time. More candid than I am in pretty much almost every video, because for one thing, it is hot. It's that time of day, year, hour, morning where I'm recording, so I gotta have the door closed, but the door's already been closed for a little bit. There's just not a lot of airflow back here, and when I'm editing, I'll open that door and I'll get some relief. But for now, the studio is turning me into a hot, sweaty, oily mess. And I thought, what better time than to take advantage of this aura, this stench, than to unbox the newest Dungeons. Well, there you go. So candid, I'm not even gonna do a second take. We're gonna keep that in. No editing. Dungeon Degenerates expansions that were shipped to me very kindly by Goblinko. Thank you very much, Sean, for these expansions. These are going to be... I'm just gonna come with me. Then you'll smell a stenchy abomination. This is... I gotta rotate the camera. Choose your fighter. Bling, 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 bling. Brrr. You have chosen Moon Madness. And if you didn't think that you did, well, you did. We're going to go look at the other two in this same video, however, because these videos are a bit more targeted, and as such, if I have more of them, separately, they're not going to do very well. Altogether, they're going to do a lot better. And that I'm respecting your time and you're respecting mine, I suppose. This is the one that I asked for by name, by the way. Moon Madness and Goblin Mode. One, because I have an affinity for goblins. Two, Moon Madness, I actually saw some of the contents and I thought it looked really cool. So Dungeon Degenerates is, of course, the nasty, vile, gross game from Goblinko. It is not so much a dungeon crawler, although they do have a dungeon crawler game, which I haven't been able to get my hands on that yet. The setting is this really strange, weird, slightly gross, perverse world. It's kind of post-apocalyptic fantasy, high fantasy. And we're going to the moon, lads. We've been there before, like 11 times, but if we're going again. The search for the cheese continues, I suppose. I'm gonna say something. Since we're in candid mode, since we're in Goblin Mode today, I need to say that these videos, for whatever reason, they've drawn out a particular set of folks. Don't usually engage with any other video that I ever do. They seem to target a few particular folks, and I just want those folks to chill out. I'm not even gonna elaborate. The game itself is pretty cool, but like I said, it's not so much a dungeon crawler as it so much more is a sort of a quest-taking type of game. I've seen various terms. None of them seem to have really stuck with this genre. I've seen like open world. I really like quest-taking. But it's a quest-taking game that actually has campaigns and scenarios. So when you begin the game, you are given a scenario and you are actually able to play it. The format, the structure of the quests, the missions within this world, in this setting, with this map and with these mechanics, makes it easy to actually make your own quests for the game and put together this pretty compelling narrative as long as it's set in this world with this lore. And you have oodles of gameplay mechanics that work together to make these exploration mechanics and combat mechanics work. While at the same time, you are leveling up your hero, but you're not really in a linear fashion making them better and better and better. You're kind of doing some trade-offs along the way. It's all a bit Warhammer Quest-ish in that regard, and I really appreciate that specific design. Moon Madness is an expansion box requiring the Hand of Doom, which is the flagship product of Dungeon Degenerates. The moon is the glowing ruler of the night, dominating a time of uncertainty and illusion when nothing is what it seems. It is revered as a deity by the pagans and feared as a harbinger of instability by the empire. The moon is reputed to hold an entire arcane civilization. It seems you are only able to travel to the moon in dreams or with the aid of magic and distorted consciousness, and no one takes anything back from there except their memories. This only adds to the confusion. The pagan Götter are trying to harness the power of the moon, and the Imperial Wurst want to stop them. The Moon Wizard has other ideas. You must travel to the moon and discover the mysteries of the power of the Moon Wizard. You must discover the secrets of the cryptic moon and not succumb to the moon madness. Printed in China, the quality of the components, as ever, is actually really, really good. Open this bad boy up, nothing under the lid, and we have our crowning achievement, an actual map on which we can play our our scenarios and our quests. And this is going to lend itself to homebrew adventures as well. Now you have a moon that you can travel back to and make adventures for. We have our moon. Is this the Moon Madness tracker? This is something that's going to change throughout the course of your adventure and provide boons or banes to your outlaws as they are questing. I really like that this board is so flexible in the center. You can't exactly fold it back the other way, nor would I want to. I don't want to damage it, but it's forgiving, so it's not rigid. And best of all, it just lays flat on the table because of this flexibility. It's not going to bow one way or the other ever. That's how all things made like this with folds in the boards should be. All right, so I'll come at me again in 20 years and I can tell you if it actually held up. We have micro catalogs. Always appreciate these little guys. This pretty much has every single thing that Goblinko's mall has on offer. All of the expansions. Mean Streets is the only one at this point that I don't have. We have thematic booster packs. I don't think I have any of those either, but that's okay. Choose or Lose stories. The newest one being the Crypt of the Contrarian Cadavers. On the other side, we've got our adventurer expansions, more missions, missions 2 and 3. Oh, I don't have those either yet. And the lore books. For those of you who think that this setting might lend itself really well to a TTRPG, I have great news for you. There is a TTRPG that's successfully funded. Low Life is the name of that game. Our Moon Madness expansion box has our tray with just 2 things, 1 deck of cards, 1 deck of tiny cards, and our character sheets and some rules, which we'll go over very shortly after we spend a little bit of time looking at the cards. Airborne, Caravan, Discouraged, Fireball, Fungal Fever, Head Games, I Want to Rock, In My Shroom, Lunar Winds, Pick a Winner, Pushermensch. These are all lunar encounter cards. So we have an entirely new deck, which I really like, and another deck specific to this region, the Lunar Settlement Encounter. The number of cards and tokens in Dungeon Degenerates makes it a very heavy game. It doesn't take up a lot of space. And if you do away with the storage tray that's inside the Dungeon Degenerates box, you could probably fit every single thing from every single expansion in that box. You just got to come up with your own storage system. I'm very close to doing that, actually. But I like these boxes so much that I think I'm just going to keep them. But if I get the Missions 2 and 3 books, then they're going to go in that core box. And that core box is going to have its tray removed. Even though it's nice that it's in there, it's already too small. It doesn't accommodate everything that comes with the base game as is. The Lunar Settlement encounters include Circus Mind, Drunk and Disorderly, Death on the Moon, Flea Market, but flea is spelt as if you're running away, Heads Up, Just Desert, Sink Hole, The Eyes Have It. With all the keywords you've come to expect from settlement encounters, we have some loot. We have only 3 loot cards, I want to... Oh no, we have a couple others. Hold on, we've got some epic loot mixed in here. Epic loot, moon monsters. Okay, I think we're finally good. Epic loot, you say? You can get Vegan Chaos. Item, moon only. I think that means you can only use it on the moon. That's crazy. It's got borrowed power mechanics. Man, Power Pie, the Celestial Switchblade. I got a knife. The Cosmic Cup. I got my cup. The Vegan Chaos. Okay, we're back. Nature's nasty. I have to know if any of these cards have abilities or attributes basically that make them the exact same as any other card. That would be a really cool thing for somebody to clarify for me. Are any other cards made obsolete by the addition of the expansion cards? For regular loot, we have the Archaic Pistol, Astronomical Maps, Cat Familiar, Dueling Pistol, Fishing Pole, Glowworms, Herbs and Spices, Lunar Lantern, Moon Dust, Moonshine, Moon Sword, Moon Silk Sack, Space Case, and Telescope. And I gotta say, most of these are probably going to be specific to the outlaws that come with this expansion. So here are our tiles with our standees that are going to represent our 4 new outlaws for Moon Madness. And then we have a number of moon counters, which are double-sided, and they have different symbols on both sides. Boy, that looks particularly weird, but it's an entire face. It's just cut in half by its colors. We've got the waning and waxing moon on one side, and then we've got just 2 halves of the moon on the other. So maybe we've got some randomization as far as that goes. We have some boss counters. We have a ring counter, also double-sided, and 4 astral tokens, which say transfigured on the other side. We've got a moon phase tracker card, which gives us another way to look at the moon, yet again, more still. And moon monster cards, which epic monsters were mixed into this deck. Kind of wonder if by separating them I've messed up some sort of predetermined order, but we have the Bad Brain, the Celestial Sentinel, the Crusty Among Us, the Glanzend Drone, I like him, the Glanzend Krieger, the Glanzend Soldier, the Hermetic Creature, the Ka-Sen Bahadur, the Ka-Sen Bandit, I like that one, the Ka-Sen Magician, the Flying Eye, alright, the Flying Sog Sack, the Mondkrieger, oh that's an epic monster, we'll look at that shortly. The Mondmenschen Hexe, that's a human witch, she's amazing, she's great. The Mondsklave Mob, the Moon Moth, the Nadelnaz, the Old Thing, and the Shroomy, this guy's cool, he's great. Don't run into him in a dark alley without some form of protection, like a gun. These are the epic monsters. The Grosser Glanzend, the Ka-Sen Assassin, the Lunar Herald, the Mondmenschen Psychic. I'm just going to go through and show. Oh, the Moon Wizard. He's cool. She? Very, very cool. And the Mondkrieger Construct. The Moon Wizard, okay, apparently is something that you're going to have to fight. That's too bad. Got to take that Moon Wizard down, I guess. So now, not entirely sure if Mutt can play as Moon Wizard. Oh, but we can play as the Night Knight. Okay, that's what we were seeing on the tiles. Yeah, not the Moon Wizard, the Night Knight. Okay, I have a new favorite incoming. This guy is really cool. It somehow is a Moon Rogue Fighter. The Lunatic Lush, not another one of those. An Eccentric Astronomer and a Gutter Witch. Gutter. Turn these around. We're going to read just the Night Knight. I'll let you look at the other ones, but I won't read them. This guy's crime was trespassing, murder, and being a public nuisance, which the Moon is known for doing all three of those, yes. The homeland is the Windmill. The Night Knight is a man possessed by the romantic potential of the Moon. He has been called to a life saving damsels in distress, defeating monsters, threatening villages, writing poetry in his lonely room with his feathered pen, drinking red wine, and generally living the tales repeated in the pages of the stories of knights that populate his collection of adventure novels. That doesn't sound so bad. If life doesn't serve this up, he'll make things that weigh in his mind. There is heroism to pursue. The Wehrstreich is not that world of romantic adventure. It is much more messy, unpleasant, and complicated than the easy morality tales of heroism in these books. But reality is for the unromantic. The Night Knight is painting a picture to be remembered. One night he had too much to drink, stole a horse, and went on a wild ride through the countryside, killing a dozen town guards who were unlucky enough to be seen as impediments to his quest. The Night Knight was captured, soundly beaten, and tossed into the dungeon. Suggested skills are adventurizing, and suggested weaknesses are romantic. The Lunatic Lush is here, and the Eccentric Astronomer is here. Kind of looks like Dan Abadan from Ninja Sex Party. And then the Gutter Witch is here. And that's how they do. All right, all that's left is our tiny deck of moon cards, which will go back into this box. I just covered up the slot. Make your trays deeper, guys. Make your trays just a few millimeters deeper so that the cards don't slide out. Well, they can. They can. Make it to where they cannot. Moon. Are they all? Okay. No, we do have some starting equipment type cards. We only have a few moon cards in the moon deck. And then we've got weaknesses and triumphs. As well as, these are the strengths and weaknesses, like adventurizing, astronomy, beer magnet, botanist, clairvoyant, cure disease, moon stricken, add the moon phase value to your strength value. If the moon phase value is negative, reduce your strength value. I like that. Weaknesses include romantic, adventure awaits, you cannot choose to ignore an encounter, +4 XP, lightning bolt. What do the moon cards do? What's the moon deck? Fear of the dark, the possibility of witches in the dark strikes terror in your heart. All witch monsters gain fear in the new moon phase. This remains in play. All of these cards remains in play. Freaking out! The light of the moon brings out the freaks from their hiding places. All daemon monsters gain summon in either half-moon phase. Impossibly, and this is grave concern, even the moonless nights affect the land, granting mysterious power to the in-between. All undead monsters gain the ability Endless in the new moon phase. Okay, so it just goes on like that, giving these buffs that remain in play while you're on the moon. But the cream of this particular crop to me is going to be the Dungeon Degenerates expansion box for use with Hand of Doom Moon Madness by Goblinko book. This is a nice printing right here. A bit thin, a bit flimsy, but nice. Easy access. Here's all of our, this is our quick reference card, basically. We have moon danger levels. It defines the phases of the moon. Rally class or summon class, status conditions of astral and transfigured. It represents the adventurers temporarily transforming their bodies through the use of alchemic means, allowing them to make the perilous journey to the moon. You can actually use either the card or the spaces on the board. I think that's pretty cool, giving you options, making the feature kind of redundant in order to best serve whatever you think is more convenient. We've got our contents list. There's the cheese. I told you, I was right. They are insane for the moon. When she is sleepy, she's creepy, mysterious, and wicked. When she is full of promise and joy, beaming her smile all the while across heaven's horizons, weaving her dreams into the hearts of lonely boys. She brings out the killer, brings out the lover. She loves a tyrant, a pirate, a dreamer, a crook and a liar, a joker, a trickster, romancer, a dancer, and fool, delirious moon. This poem goes on, and it's by Mandelmann, but we've got 2 other expansions to cover, so we must go on too. We have lore, who lives on the moon. We have lore about who lives on the moon. We have an introduction to the adventurers. Oh, they don't just outright call them outlaws right there. That's interesting. And then we have the rules, the moon phase tracker explanation. This continues to go on telling you the instances of adjacent spaces with no connecting path or road, including Dunkelheit, the Glanzen Hive, Kleiner Crater, Altenheul, the Monastery, and Mondhol des Wardens. A lot of German in this game and its expansions. How to use these missions. Additional steps are introduced to each danger phase. You will advance the moon phase tracker. While on the moon, you should add or subtract the current moon phase value to the danger card value to a maximum of 6 and a minimum of 1. Begin a campaign with the Bark at the Moon or Bad Moon Rising mission, dependent on your adventure's classes. When the first mission is completed, its mission path section will indicate which mission to attempt next. Bark at the Moon is here. Then we continue on to the next page. Then we have the Gutter tables. Moving on, we have a page 4. Bad Moon Rising is where the next quest begins, and this is bounty level of 3. The party starting at Stone Circle. This is the other alternative start to this entire expansion. Moving on, that's only 2 pages. We have Moongazer. Then that's 2 pages. Killing Moon. 3 pages before 2.5 before we get to Moonage Daydream. This is a standalone. One adventurer must make a magic test. The party starts at mag test location, one of those 4 places. Going on. Diary of a Madman is in here, and so is Turm der Nacht. Going on, we have Wizard's Apprentice and Sail to the Moon and Master of the Moon. Okay, another standalone. Or rules for standalone, I guess, is what that really is. What happens if you're doing this as a standalone journey? Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. So playing these in not exactly the order I'm going in, but listening to the end of the mission to tell you which other mission to go to. That is how you will actually play these. Then Moontaker, which I believe is probably the last one since we have our nice little Finn space here. I don't want to actually read any of those quests because I don't want to spoil myself on the lore and the progression of how they go, but we're going to take one more look at the moon itself and its lovely locations before we close up this box until we play later. Probably much later, because I have too many. I have too many in my queue. It's getting worked on. It's getting chipped away. It's not even a steady chip, but it is happening. All right. We have 2 more expansions. Which will you choose? You chose Goblin Mode. This is another one that I asked for by name. I think I said that earlier. Everybody wants to be a goblin. This box lets you play as a goblin. Goblins are nasty, filthy, sadistic creatures that have been the focus of folktales, nursery rhymes, and curses for as long as anyone can remember. Countless numbers of irritations have been attributed to the fiddly destructiveness of the goblins. As the goblins gain in number, the trouble becomes malignant. They start stealing larger things like horses, carts, and barrels, breaking windows, scratching the mortar away between stones until walls mysteriously fall apart, rotting wooden beams, spoiling grain, and defecating everywhere. If the unclean reign of goblins is not met with sanitation, order, and death, they start building their terrible nests where the sun don't shine. It is when Colin the goblin has decided not to take his seat on the goblin throne, and the next in line don't want that target on their backs. It is from here that you must engage in Goblin Mode. Alright, so that story is actually really cool. The next goblin in line for the throne's like, I don't want it. And the other ones are like, well, crap, we don't want it either. And that's going to be a problem. So we have our book, we have our tiles. This time we have 2 sheets of tiles. Here are our goblins that we can be. It looks like we have a violent goblin. What's the word? A gluttonous goblin, a creepy and a maybe battle-ready, very spiky goblin, and a very uptight, somewhat authoritative, dry goblin. We have nooses, we have hands with eyeballs in them. We have some symbols like a balloon, because everybody floats here, I guess. We have some goblin, perhaps enemies or bosses. The tiles are all double-sided as per normal. We have the flooded caves. We have the hidden halls. Those are double-sided. We have Obenstadt, and we have, what is this? The Goblin Tunnels. I actually didn't catch that this was a region with a picture of a place. I was thinking it was like a monster, a mummified head or something, but no, that is, as usual, a region. We've got Bog Pimple. We've got Filch Mold. We've got Kazwart, and we've got Skive Gristle. I gotta know this guy's story. Let's read about Bog Pimple. Like a thorn under your fingernail, Bog Pimple is even meaner, nastier, and wickeder than his goblin compatriots, even the goblin lords. His lean, pointy appearance matches his thorny demeanor. He ascended through the ranks underhandedly, leaving a trail of torment, fear, pain, and dead bodies behind him. Bog loves to bring his enemies right to the point of death. In this state, his prey is terrified. Their blood pumps on the ground. Bog relishes the agony of their last moments as they squirm before him. Yes, this is a character that you can choose to be in this game. You are outlaws. You're all outlaws. There are no heroes in Dungeon Degenerates. You're all degenerates. Suggested skills, find weakness. Suggested weaknesses, cruel. And that can be a weakness. This is Filch Mold's story and his suggestions, Kazwart's story and suggestions, and the Goblin Lord Skive Gristle's suggestions and backstory, which all four of these are Goblin Lords. And you'll notice that none of them are Colin. So yeah, these guys, they're probably out to go force Colin to be a Goblin Lord, the Goblin King, Goblin Emperor. We have more epic monsters. We have Badlands monsters to add to our Badlands deck, the Lowlands monsters, and these are monsters that have existing decks because this is going to take place in the main game with the board that you already have and the locations that you already have. And that lends itself exactly to what I was saying about the ease of creating expansion content for a game like this, the way that it's set up. Settlement encounters here, including Fear and Surprise and the Preacher. Loot, which includes the Bearers of the Obese. These little guys are underneath Filch Mold, I think his name was. Blinding Crystal, the Can Opener, that's great. The Dandy Costume, the Heavy Plate, the Kinderwurst, the Knife and Fork, beautiful. The Knockout Arrows, the Pointy Plate, the Leather Armor, the Scrog Tonic, the Spiny Sticker, the Studded Bludgeon, the Tourniquet, the Wizard Smoke. Oof, I feel myself kind of losing the candidness that I promised earlier. I've kind of slipped right back into presentation mode. The Hag's Amulet and Mirror of Illusion are here because I'm in the zone. I'm in a flow state. We will add the Bog Goblin to our Wetlands monsters, to our Badlands monsters. We've got the Hobgoblin Chopper, the Nugbear Thug, the Orc Moron Meatwurst, yeah, with sausage. The Orc Moron with sausage. The Pickle Goblin, that's great. He's pickled. The Goblin Chicken, I think that's just a regular chicken, but if you say so. And the Goblin Crow, that I could believe is a slightly not normal crow. We're going to look at the epic monsters, leaving the other ones to be a surprise. We're also going to drop the epic monsters on the ground. We have a Goblin Warlord with Rally and the Head of Targ, which is a Curse and Fear type of thing that it has hair. That's my hair, don't worry. Found itself all bundled up. I need to vacuum in here, I realize. Command Goblin is a skill, so is Gourmet, Iron Stomach, Scheming, Shrug Off, Pain, Slippery, Slow Death, Torture, Honorary Dandy. We got some war cards to add this time around. A lot of them. Probably going to double or triple our war deck, as a matter of fact. Interesting. And here's our Goblin Mode expansion book. Different and new art on every single page. Goblins are harbingers of discord, disease, and filth. Oh, yeah, it tracks that goblins would make discord. Introducing the Goblin Lords. Bog Pimple is one of the nastiest goblins to ever live. Is that Colin? That's him, yeah. Colin is not a perfect example of goblinity. Colin is a dandy, a human lover, and has increased in his ungoblin-like tendencies the more he discovers the outside world. Colin wears an enormous feathered cartwheel hat, lederhosen, a pink neckerchief, buckled beetle cruncher boots, high socks, multiple polished and jewel-adorned rings on his spindly fingers, a pink peacoat, and usually carries a balloon. Bog Pimple, Bog Pimp. The Goblin Lords can smell the perfumed odor of his weakness and are waiting to seize the moment to tear him down. He sent his friend and confidant, Wilf the Goblin, to a goblin-friendly pub, the Goblin's Armpit in Brutelberg. Wilf is a dandy goblin who also does... God, there's the candidacy I promised. Candidness. Candidacy is an entirely different word. Wilf is a goblin dandy also, wearing a tailcoat, ankle-bound trousers. Who cares? It is within the Goblin Fortress. Okay, I can't speak English. I guess I'm becoming a goblin. Basically, Colin here is the son of the Goblin King. He is the Goblin Prince, next in line to replace the great Goblin Hash Belch of the Goblin Fortress. He doesn't want to be king. He doesn't want to be king. He wants to be a dandy and live in the human city with candy, pate, caviar, crackers, chamber music, perfumes, tarts, small dogs, and clean bed linens. To enjoy the cream of life instead of making that cream spoil. Are we going to wring this guy's neck? I think I might want him dead. The goblin tunnels run under the Goblin Fortress and the surrounding wastes, an infested breeding ground for goblins and their progenitors. What? These are going to overlay on the board, so Obenstadt is going to go over here above Bruttelberg. It's the highest and most defended level of Bruttelberg, home of the cream of the city and the high alchemists of the empire. And the goblins, so these are going to go onto the board. We have additive locations. I actually really like that. I knew I was going to like this expansion. It's not just because goblins, it's because there's stuff about the mechanics and the addition of the mechanics to the game that I can feel it in my soul intuitively that that's how it works. And I saw this expansion that I knew it was going to have this kind of thing that I like, and it does, and it did. A Dandy's Progress is the first quest. Dandy in the Underworld. Whoa, we have, what is that? We have Exploration. We have Catacombs. I didn't catch that. Oh, they're not cards that come with the expansion. Gotcha. They're cards that I guess are with the main game. Okay, so cards we already have. Dandy in the Underworld. Shuffle all the danger cards together, excluding the 3 Mean Streets Outbreak cards. Lay the danger cards face down as shown below, placing 2 cards in each space of a 4x4 grid with any space with the Void Gate card placed as indicated. The remaining 3 danger cards still form the danger deck, which you may need to draw from at certain times during your delve into the catacombs. Alright, I like that. It's taking mechanics that already exist and flipping them on their head and saying, you can do this with your stuff. That's extremely imaginative. I really appreciate it. Midnight Circus is an awesome title for a mission, and that's the next one, or could be your next one, depending on how your branching path goes. We have the Stand and Deliver mission next, the Traitor to His Kind mission, and the Heavy Lies the Crown mission. Oh man, is our boy Colin going to decide to take up the kingship after all? The Cry War, a cure for Colin. And yeah, that's it. Then we have our easy access. Goblin level, placing law and goblin counters, battle and goblin counter spaces, being quickly referenced on the back of this book. Hoping that I was able to cover all the bases of the cool parts of this expansion, because I definitely saw enough to sell me on justifying my intuition. I was right. I was actually right about both of these. They had just the kind of content that I thought I would like the most. That's why I requested them. I didn't get these in response to a request, by the way. I was just offered the chance to pick up more expansions, and I just said yes. These happen to be the ones that came my way. So, all right, it's time to select your third expansion. Which one would you like to see? Exit. Game over. What do you mean you chose to leave? I'll select it for you. You thought you were ever in control? The Dirty Deeds expansion box contains blue and 4 more outlaws, 2 of which I think look really, really neat. Life in the Werestrike is a constant struggle for survival among the crooked cops, desperate adventurers, starving monsters, insane wizards, grotesque ghosts, obnoxious goblins, deranged demons, and even worse. Existence is made more difficult because everyone is jostling for position like crabs in a bucket, pushing, struggling. Survival is frequently determined by your friends and enemies. Trying to eke out a living as an adventurer is challenging. The lows, are lower, and the highs, though infrequent, are much higher. Most don't have the guts, wits, cunning, or lack of boundaries to succeed in this flea-ridden, dog-eat-dog world and stick to the relative safety of the known. They refuse to get their hands dirty. To endure and thrive in this level of struggle, you must be ready to take on any number of dirty deeds. Peter Griffin meme where he points at the movie screen and says, he saw it, he's that. No, wait. Yeah. Then he says, that's why they call it that. We've got our catalog yet again, once more. Always appreciated. Consistent design. We have our book. This feels a lot thinner this time around. I bet there's not missions in it. Probably more of a non-mission content expansion. We'll see. We'll find out. Actually, it probably does have missions because we have locations. The Crystal Chamber, the Undercity Dungeon. All right. I'm on board with that. And those are double-sided. So we have the Secret Garden and the Colossal Caves. Like that a lot. Like that a lot. Here are our 4 new outlaw standees. They don't come with any stands because the stands are in the base game already, and there's only enough to get you through with a party of 4 outlaws, I believe. We have all of our tokens that we're going to need, some handshakes that are crossed out. Interesting. Red and green handshakes with flags. What does that mean? Well, we're about to find out, but not before we take a look at the adventurers. The Bombast Belter. She's like an opera singer, but she's ready to actually fight like a Valkyrie. She looks cool. We'll probably go at, she has a combat stein. She's literally holding a mug of beer. We're going to probably read hers. The Crooked Cop, the High Alchemist, and the Wasted Youth. And I have a feeling the High Alchemist isn't high on a ladder. I like the Wasted Youth. Here is the Crooked Cop's lore and rules, the High Alchemist lore, and as I said rules, I meant suggestions, and the Wasted Youth. Caught burgling a house, thrown into the dungeon, the Bombast Belter was ignored by her parents, classmates, teachers, and people in general. She sought fame and fortune to fill this hole in her life. Eventually, she found what she was looking for on the stage and in the company of artistes. She developed a commanding, loud, domineering presence, bringing rooms to attention just by entering. She was perfect for the Bombast, a cacophonic, overwhelming mixture of opera and circus. When she got to the top of the Bombast, that hole wasn't filled. She soon saw that even the top performers were just disposable chips in the games of the Bombast Meister and his mission to keep the citizens of Brettelberg entertained and distracted. She got drunk and plotted his murder, rigging one of the cannons to go off wrong, killing him in the process. The cannon misfired, killing the Bombast Meister and a couple performers. Unfortunately, the Bombast Belter was spotted by a performer who was sure he could be collateral damage too, so the Bombast Belter was arrested for murder and thrown in the dungeon. Audience control and flighty. The card deck feels rather thick in this one. We've got epic monsters, lowland, highland. We've got some law cards this time around, a bunch of loot cards, some action cards, some settlement encounters, some deeds. And that's a big deeds deck. I really wish we had enough vertical space in the box, or enough, I guess, horizontal card space, and then card dividers to go in there to keep all of our decks in the main game box with the lid on, no lid lift. That would be really cool. The box does not appear to be tall enough to accommodate that, but that would be so cool. So we have all of these deeds cards, Easy Mark, Breaking the Law, Bribe and Groom, Goblin Cull, Goblin Run. So these are all just basically going to be missions that you can take on. We've got settlement encounters, again, to add to your deck. I'm not going to go through all of those. I want to look at these. Oh, I said actions. These are factions. They're faction cards. My bad. We've got the Black Bats, and we've got the Blue Thumbs, the Council of the Guildsmen, the Pointy Sticks, the River Rats, and the Wind. Hey, I'm a river rat, actually. Okay, I do want to look at the epic monsters that come with this one. Always want to show off the epic monsters. Who are the worst of the worst, or the worst of the worst, so to speak? The Trash Troll. This is Oscar on a bad dosage of steroids. Uberschlager, Human Law with Rally, and Lemmy a Dollar, the Human Bandit with Rally. Lemmy a Dollar. I like that. That's so silly. And now, without further ado, because we've already adued up the entire place, we're going to look at the Dirty Deeds book. We have our easy access on the back. And we have faction tokens. That's what those are. Those counters. They go onto the game board and the faction cards, and they're going to denote whether or not you are friendly with that faction or not, which could influence even more of the combat statistics in the game. I do sometimes worry that I'm going to be too crunched out to really play this effectively and have fun when I finally get around to it, once I start getting expansions in. But hopefully it's a slow enough roll to get to that point and a long enough road that I do feel that it's intuitive and fun. You will eventually come to Brettelberg. I warn you, whatever is rotten and nasty there is in the world you will find in that city. Okay, so we basically just have to please the gangs. Just the factions, ma'am. The Black Bats are a vicious gang of Brettelberg that cause nervous looks with just the implication of their presence. How? They're like the least... Oh, that's like their symbol. That's not actually them. Okay, I was going to say, that's the least threatening thing I've seen in this entire game system. There are thousands of gangs in the Werestrike. The Black Bats stand strong above them all. The Black Bats occupy a labyrinthine network of caves in the mountains to the west of Brettelberg. So that's why we have the additional location tokens to go on the board. It represents the places that these guys hang out at. The river rats are comprised mostly of Götter, who operate around the Stinkenblut River and its tributaries. Using their position as masterful marauders of the waterways, they skim what they want off the top to make themselves heroes to the neighboring Götter, who get the items for a steep discount. Right, we've also got the Wind and the Pointy Sticks and the Council of Guildsmen. 5 altogether. We've got faction counters, enemy faction counters. You have perks that happen, as well as rules. Perks whenever you are friends with faction. You will place the factions of the game where we have all these setup rules for placing this stuff. If instructed to reset a deck, follow the instructions shown in the setup section of the deed to rebuild the deck as it was at the start of the deed. Okay. Some rules remain in play even after the deed has been completed. All right. Some deeds require you to visit locations that are represented by map overlays. The deed card will explain where the map overlay should be placed. Okay. Good. Good. No missions? No, there's I guess one mission. Enter sandbox. Oh, it's the sandbox. That's what this is. Rather than complete missions from one of the mission booklets, your objective will be to gain as much influence as possible with the factions before the game ends, which will happen one of 3 ways. So it's a sandbox mode, and it changes the gameplay of the game in a fundamental way, or at least it changes the objective of the game and the flow of it by not having you go through different missions that are linked. We've got the Warlord deck, rules for the Warlord deck, setup. The objective: if you dispel the Hand of Doom while you have the puzzle prison, you may trap it inside the puzzle prison, achieving victory against the Hand of Doom. That's awesome. Warlords of the Necromancer. When you destroy one of the 4 epic monsters listed in setup, do not make a loot roll. Instead, take a random epic loot card from the Warlord loot deck. When you destroy the Serpent Lord, also place a Void Gate at the Hell Pit. Okay, interesting. Might have overused that word, but that is quite interesting. So once again, I'm pretty floored by the amount of thought and care that has gone into the creation of these products in terms of rule set, as well as aesthetic and everything just placed together. Arrangement overall, the mastery of it all. So I've got high compliments for the design overall. I know this could not have been any small task. This had to been English, Ash. English. A major undertaking that took a considerable amount of time for each expansion. There's no year on the box. I always like seeing a year on the box, but no years. No years here. So go right with my overall collection for Hand of Doom. And this video thusly ends going into the collection of Hand of Doom videos that I am racking up on the channel. This is a cutaway to continue the candidness of the video and show you exactly how much more sweat I have accumulated since beginning this endeavor. It's actually not, it's not that bad. It's not too bad. It's not pleasant. That's a different story. I gotta drink my coffee at room temp. It's no less good. It's a little less calming. There's nothing as calming as a nice hot cup of coffee. I did forget to make my coffee cold. That's something I usually do on these summer days. I've learned to do it. I make my coffee the night before. I make the cold water, put it in, and then I put it into the fridge so it maintains the cold, and then I take it out the next morning. And it's a lovely thing that maintains my body temp throughout the morning when it's hot like this. I'm not putting an air conditioner in this window. It's not happening. It would absolutely destroy the sound quality, and I am choosing form over function over fit. I'm choosing style over comfort, which is exactly what Hand of Doom does. It's completely stylish and it's uncomfortable. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I do hope that this does. Doing well is a subjective concept, but like this channel is fairly targeted, and whenever I deviate from that target even a little bit, sometimes the content just completely misses. So I do hope that there are people who become interested enough in what I have shown here to make the video seem worthwhile to the creator, because I know that it's no cheap task to take these creations and just send them. I haven't played Hand of Doom enough to give you any sort of deep analysis on how the expansions will play before I've actually touched them. I'm at a level where I can play one of my other favorite games and know from the expansion that I unbox kind of what the difficulty level is going to be, who it's for, who it's going to really please the most, who it probably isn't going to be for the most. That's not to say that those opinions are objective. I could say what I think, and then all of it could be disagreed with, and that's totally fine. But all I can really do in this instance is unbox and speculate and show you the pretty pictures and all of the presentation and give my own praise to the design of the mechanics and the arrangement and the quality of the components. And it is, to me, high praise. I mean, I hope that it comes off that way, because it's really cool how all of this has come together with each box. The consistency of the boxes I also really appreciate too. That goes for pretty much everything on the Goblinko Mall. The Hand of Doom game, and I can't speak for the previous editions, the current edition, or at least the one that I was sent, is really great in terms of component quality. The only thing that I have been sent that I did not like as much as I thought I would was the Choose Your Lose Adventures, and that's because of how they were printed. It really just seemed like color printer, done. Regular paper. That's really how those seem to me. That's the only miss in this entire catalog, which is a shame, because the Choose Your Own Adventure format going along with a quest-taking scenario-based game like this seems like it would be absolute golden. If you can find a way to merge that with the virtues of a dungeon crawler by introducing another gameplay mode, and then have that mix into the existing components somehow, and or a skirmish game by introducing elements that would facilitate a skirmish game and the scaling out of a rule set for that, I think you'd have the perfect addition of what you have, of course, with the TTRPG already on its way. That's enough blathering from me. I've got other stuff to move on to, and I hope that this was given its deserved due. A big thank you again to Sean and possibly also Katie over at Goblinko for sending this stuff my way. Thank you guys. I do appreciate it, and I do really highly enjoy looking through it, and it is stuff that I fully intend on really diving into more. I like to say soon, but sometimes soon is it's been 3 years and still I haven't done the thing. So we'll see how that goes when it happens. As for the rest of you, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. I know I am, because I'm going to go into the air conditioning, which the rest of the house has. I bid you farewell for now. Onward.